Welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time I'm going to be doing Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. This is a cooperative deck building game. I'm going to be doing it 2-player, and we're going to start off here with Game 1. In the box, you get 7 different, I don't know if they're different, 7 progressive games. And so we're going to be doing Game 1. I will probably be coming back in the future doing Game 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think the later games take a lot longer. This one should be relatively quick. And the 2 characters I'm going to be playing with are, of course, Harry Potter. There's nothing special on these cards. There's a quote from the movie, I believe, the first movie. On here, I can't be a wizard. I mean, I'm just Harry. Just Harry. And the other player I'm going to be playing is Ron Weasley. What do you think they're doing, keeping a thing like that locked up in school? Of course, talking about the 3-headed dog, Fluffy. Okay, I'm going to zoom down here on these cards and different areas of this board, and we will take a look at that, and then we're going to get into the gameplay, which during Game 1 is not as complicated as later games. Alright, so the first few things we're going to look at here. In Game 1, you end up having 3 villains, so I've shuffled them here, and to start the game, you're going to place 1 out. Of course, there's locations here for 3 in later games. But right now, the first villain that's out in play, or villains, I guess, is Crabbe and Goyle. And you can see here it even says Game 1 up on here. Each time a Dark Arts event or villain causes a hero to discard a card, that hero loses 1 health. And the reward when you defeat these guys, all heroes draw a card. So that's our first villain. The object of the game is to defeat all the villains. If we defeat all of the villains while protecting all the locations, we win the game. If all the locations get taken over by the evil players, the game basically, we lose the game. Each of our heroes has one of these trackers. So I just stuck it on the board here so we can have a look at it. It tracks your health. We start at 10. It has a spot here to put in attack tokens, which look like this, and we use these to try and defeat our enemies, and influence tokens over here, which look like this, used to buy cards that come out from the Hogwarts deck, and we'll be taking a look at that in a minute. So Harry and Ron are both going to have one of these boards, so they're going to be off to the side here, so we won't be seeing it during gameplay, but I'll be tracking their health with that. Alright, we're going to go up on the top of the board here, look at some other things, then we're going to go take a look at the cards. But what I can show you, I guess, briefly is there's a 10-card deck for both Harry and Ron, and there are unique cards in the decks. And if you look at the bottom of the deck here, you'll see Harry. So Harry has a starting 10-card deck. So does Ron. So does Hermione. So does Neville in the 4-player game. And so those are all shuffled up. And you draw 5 cards on your turn. And being a deck builder, you're going to draw 5 cards. At the end of your turn, you're going to discard them. Then you're going to draw back up to 5. And so on. Alright, let's take a look at a couple more parts of the board, and we'll just get ahead and start playing. Alright, at the top of the board for Game 1, we actually have 2 locations. We have Diagon Alley, and then we have the Mirror of Erised. And you can see here, Villain Control, there's 4 spaces on the bottom of each one. There are these really nifty metal tokens here. When we get a control to be placed on here, we're going to place the metal tokens. Villain Control tokens. If all 4 of these ever fill up at the end of a player's turn, not during, then the location will have been taken over by the villains. It gets replaced with the next location. So if both Diagon Alley and the Mirror of Erised get taken over by the evil villains, then the game wins the game and we lose. We have here Dark Arts cards. These are all shuffled, and again for Game 1 I think there's about 15 or so. And we're going to be doing one of those per turn. And we can look at the turn order here quickly. Comes on these little cards, if it will focus, which it probably may or may not. We'll look at this later when we can actually zoom in on it and focus. Alright, we're going to look at the cards we can buy that come from the Hogwarts deck. And then we will take a look at the turn order, and then we'll get into the game. Alright, so at the top right-hand corner of the board we have a shuffled deck of Hogwarts cards. Again, Game 1, there's a whole bunch more as you go through the full 7 games of this particular deck builder. So the top 2 cards I pulled out here, we have a Reparo spell, and it's choose one. You can either gain 2 influence or draw a card. And the cost is in the bottom right, so this costs 3 influence to get into your hand. When you gain a card in this game, it immediately goes to the discard pile unless you have another card that says otherwise. So that's the Reparo spell, and there's 2 of them here at the top, so they are the same. And going down to the next 2 cards, we have an ally, Oliver Wood, who was the Gryffindor captain, I think, from the first movie. And he is basically gain 1 attack, and it says if you defeat a villain, any 1 hero gains 2 life back, costs 3. And we have a Lumos spell, all heroes draw a card, and that costs 4. And the last 2 cards out here for our playthrough, Incendio spell, gain 1 attack and draw 1 card, and Descendo spell, gain 2 attack, costing 4 and costing 5 likewise. Okay, we are going to take a look at the turn order, and then we're going to begin with Harry Potter, and we're going to do a few turns. Alright, so we're zoomed down here on the turn order card, and of course it is a Hogwarts ticket to going to Hogwarts from London on 9 3/4 platform. Okay, so what does it say here? Well, the turn order is basically reveal and resolve the Dark Arts events cards, and the location will tell you how many Dark Arts cards to flip over on each player's turn. Then you're going to resolve villain abilities if they apply. Then you play Hogwarts cards and take hero actions, and we'll see that in action here in a second. And then end of your turn, discarding your remaining cards and tokens, then draw 5 new cards. Alright, I'm going to zoom out. We're going to begin with Harry Potter. I'm probably going to take a couple of turns each, and that will be good enough for our introductory episode. So let's do that, and up first, Harry Potter. Okay, so this being a cooperative deck builder, there's no hidden information really between characters. So this is Harry Potter's deck, so 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to take 5 cards off the top of his deck. So we'll take a look at his hand. He has an Lohamarho spell, gain 1 influence. Of course, that from the first movie, Opening Doors, if I remember correctly. He has Hedwig, it's an ally. Choose 1, you can gain 1 attack or 2 life. Another Alohamarha, I'm not going to keep saying these because I'll just keep messing them up. So that's gain 2 more influence. Another one gain influence. So he basically has 4 of these spells, gaining influence and Hedwig. So that's going to be his opening hand. Now let's take a look at Mr. Weasley and see what he's got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's take a look at his card. So he has the same spell, the same spell, the same spell. So it's 3 influence. He has Pigwidgeon, which is his Hallow. So choose 1, you gain 1 attack or 2 life, and again, so very similar to Harry's hand. That is Ron's hand. Alright, so let's begin. And so what do? First thing we need to do on each player's turn, of course, is reveal a Dark Arts card. So we're going to be revealing the top Dark Arts card, and we'll see what it says. It says, it's an event. Flipendo, active hero loses 1 health and discards a card. So, we get smacked down immediately. So Harry's going to go from 10 health down to 9, and he has to discard 1 card. Well, I don't think he wants to discard Hedwig, or does he? I think he is going to discard Hedwig. For the simple reason that we want to save as much influence as we can. And so very quickly he's going to play his hand. 1, 2, 3. He has 4 influence. And what you would do then by playing those cards is, of course, you would take 4 influence and you would put them onto your player board. So I will do that. And the reason I think they want you to get used to doing that is because in later games things get much more complicated. So the boards really help you keep track of tokens and things you've played. So Harry's at 9 health. He has 4 influence. If we look over here, he can buy everything except the Descendo spell. So he can get the 1 attack, draw a card with an Incendo. Oh, this is Descendo. Or he can get the Lumos, all heroes draw a card. He can get Oliver ally. And you can buy multiple cards on your turn as well. So if there were 2 2s up here, Harry could buy it. The card, though, doesn't immediately get replaced until the very end of the turn. So once you're buying cards out of here, they don't get replaced until the very end. I think Harry may as well go ahead and draw and get this card with his 4 influence. So he'll spend his 4 influence, and this card allows him, this is going to go in his discard pile to gain 1 attack and draw 1 card. So that goes in his discard pile, and there you have it. That was basically his first turn. So far, at end of turn, discard any remaining cards and tokens and then draw 5 new cards. And that's important. So you're going to get rid of all your tokens that you didn't use and all your cards, whether you use them or not, to end up doing that. So, oh, and I also forgot one other thing. I'm supposed to look at the hero's ability. Each time a Dark Arts event or villain causes a hero to discard a card, which happened, that hero loses a health. So not only does he lose a health for the Flipendo event, he also loses a health because of Crabbe and Goyle. Almost forgot that already in the simple version. Wait till it gets very complicated. I'll have even more trouble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. So Harry's next hand will be 2 spells. The Invisibility Cloak. So this is one of his Harry special cards. Gain an influence. If this is in your hand, you can't lose more than 1 health from each Dark Arts event or villain. And Firebolt. So we have gain 1 attack. If you defeat a villain, you also gain an influence. So that's going to be his hand for his next turn. All right, let me think about this. I'm going to come right back, and we're going to have Ron Weasley take his first turn. Oh, and yes, at the end of the turn now, we're going to replace this. So what it gets replaced with is the Essence of Dittany. Any hero gains 2 life back, and it only costs 2, so that's a pretty inexpensive thing to get, and we can get life back for it. All right, up next, Ron. Okay, Ron is up next, and of course he's got his 4 spells and Pigwidgeon, his owl. But the first step of the game for each turn is a Dark Arts card. And, oh lovely, Expulso, active hero loses 2 health. Well, there you go. So we didn't discard a card, so Crabbe and Goyle are not going to come into effect. However, Ron goes from 10 health down to 8. And of course the name of the game is we need to defeat all 3 of the villains. So basically he has Pigwidgeon. So he can either regain 2 health or do 1 attack. I think he's going to use Hedwig for 1 attack. So that's going to go on his player board. To keep track of it, and he also has 4 influence. So we're going to take 4 influence tokens, and that's going to go on his player board. And now he can spend these cards any way he wants, and so with the 4 influence, he's going to spend the 4 influence, and he's going to buy this spell, or get this spell from that influence. Lumos, all heroes draw a card. This will go, of course, into his discard pile. And this does not get replaced till the end. And of course he has 1 attack, so he's going to put this attack. This goes now down underneath the current villain. And now you can see this villain has 5 health. When we get 5 of these attack tokens down here, this villain, or in this case villains, will be defeated. Alright, that's basically him playing all of his cards, taking all his actions, end of turn, so he has to discard all of his cards. Any tokens left over, he draws 5 new cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a 10 card deck. So for Ron, he gets another one of these spells. He gets Clean Sweep, 11, gain 1 attack. If you defeat a villain, you also gain an influence and a couple more spells. And another one of this, just for Ron, Birdie Bots, every flavor beans. Gain an influence for each ally played this turn, gain 1 attack. So that's going to be his hand for his second turn. All right, we're going to do 1 more turn each, and then that's going to be the end of this episode. So, of course, we have to replace the card at the end. Ooh, this looks different. Wingardium Levioso. So gain 1 influence. You may put items you acquire on top of your deck instead of in your discard pile. Okay, so when you acquire item, it goes into the top of their deck instead of into your discard pile. So that's kind of cool. All right, up we go now back to Harry. And on Harry's turn, he has Firebolt. He has 3 of these and his Invisibility Cloak. Okay, So basically, the first thing we have to do, of course, is a dark arts card. And here we go for Harry, second turn. Oh, this looks great. He who must not be named. I wonder who that is. Can't quite tell from the picture. Yeah, right. Add 1 villain influence to the location. All right, we're going to add our first of these little cool metal tokens onto the location. 1 of 4 is now taken over. All right, what is Harry going to do? Harry has the invisibility cloak. Gain 1 influence. If this is in your hand, you can't lose more than 1 life from each of the dark arts events or villains. Okay, well, he's going to play that. He's going to get 1 influence. So we'll put that on his player board. He gets 1, 2, 3 more influence from the spell, so that's going to give him a total now of 4 influence. And he's going to play Firebolt, gain 1 attack. If you defeat a villain, also gain an influence. Well, that's probably not going to happen because he's only gaining 1 attack. So now he's played all of his cards. Now he's going to allocate his token. So he's going to put the attack here. So now we have 2 attack against Crabbe and Goyle. 3 more and they'll be defeated. He also has now 4 influence. And there are 2 cards out here that have 2 each. And I think he's going to buy... Does he want to buy both of them, or does he just want to get the ally? He's going to lose. He'll lose it anyway. You know what? I think he's just going to spend a 3 here. He's going to get the spell, Reparo. Choose 1, gain 2 influence, or draw a card. And, of course, that goes into his discard pile. That goes into his discard pile. So that cost him 3 of his 4 influence. And so that goes away. Now, he has 1 influence left, but... end of your turn, discard any remaining cards and tokens. So that 1 influence he didn't spend actually is discarded. You don't keep them from turn to turn. And then draw 5 new cards. Well, Harry's going to have to shuffle his cards to be able to draw 5 new ones because he's out of cards now. And then we're going to have Ron go, and that's going to be the end of our episode. So let's see what he got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And his 5 cards are the usual spell. Oh, he got his Incendio, gain 1 attack, draw a card. So lots of influence and an attack. That'll be Harry's. Up last is Ron for this episode. All right. Ron has, of course, Clean Sweep 11, Birdie Bots, Every Flavor Beans, and 3 of the generic spells. But, beginning of the turn, Dark Arts card. We have Petrification. All heroes lose a health and cannot draw extra cards this turn. Active hero draws 5 new cards at end of turn. Okay, all heroes lose health and cannot draw extra cards this turn. Well, that's going to put both Harry and Ron down to 7 health. Now they're still kicking, and when they get down to 0 health, they're basically stunned, and we'll go over what happens if and when we get to that point. Alright, so Ron now can play cards. He's going to play Clean Sweep, which is gain 1 attack. If you defeat a villain, you're going to get an influence. Well, he's not, so he's going to get 1 attack. I'm just going to leave them out here instead of reaching across. This here, he's going to gain an influence. For each ally played this turn, well, he doesn't have any allies, he would gain an attack. So he's going to get 1 influence for that, 2, 3, total of 4 influence. And yes, I didn't replace this card at the end of Harry's turn. I apologize. And we have Quidditch Gear, gain an attack, and 1 health. Cool. So he's got 4 influence. So this attack, of course, is going to be placed on Crabbe and Goyle. There's 3 of 5 now, so we're getting close to knocking them out. With 4 influence, he can either get the 2 2s, or he could get Quidditch Gear or Reparo. I think he's going to go ahead and spend all 4, and he's going to get the 2 2s. So he's going to get this spell. Levioso, gain an influence. You may put items you purchase, and he's also going to get this item, which is Essence of Dittany. Any hero regains 2 life. That, of course, will be discarded. And the extra token would also get discarded because he spent... Oh no, he spent all 4. That was Harry that spent 3. Okay, so we're going to replace these. At the end of the turn now. Another Quidditch Gear. Yes, there are multiples in here. I'm sure this deck gets much larger. And now we have Dumbledore. He costs 8. Not very likely to be able to afford him during this game. And now Ron has to draw 5 new cards. And I will say there was one rule, I guess, that was not in the rule book, but it's an official one from the designers. Once per game, you can, if you buy nothing, from here you can wipe them all out and refill them. And that's to help get away from, if you have a whole bunch of really high cards that you can't buy, then you just don't buy anything at all and you just refill the entire thing. All right, let's draw Ron's 5 cards and we're going to wrap it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see what he gets for the start of the next episode. Aloha Marha. 1, 2, 3 of those. 4, 5. He's going to have 5 influence. Wow, you heard me shuffling there. Shuffled a lot, but he gets up all influence cards, which is actually nice because then this card here he would be able to buy, which is gain 2 attack, so we can start knocking out the heroes more quickly. All right, hope I haven't messed up. If I have, I'll be trying to leave some notes along the way. This is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, a cooperative deck building game, as I stumble over the words. And we're playing game 1, which of course is the most basic. There are 6 other little card boxes within the box, the board game, that add new rules and new things to the game as you play on. So I will be continuing this series after I finish game 1. Of course, I'll do 2, 3, 4 and continue at some point in time. So we'll see how this game unfolds as it continues until we get to game 7, which will be the most complicated. All right, thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for subscribing and making comments and liking my videos if you do. I really do appreciate it. This is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, a cooperative deck building game. Join me next time for the continuation we have Harry Potter and Ron Weasley trying to protect Diagon Alley and the Mirror of Erised before the villains can take it over. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.